The Trump administration says it will move the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem in May. It'll coincide with Israel's 70th anniversary celebration. Well, David Parsons is vice president of the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem. He joins us now for more. President Trump announced we're moving the U.S. Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. So not many Americans know that there was actually a law that was passed in 1995. You were responsible for the first draft. Tell us about it.
The Gingrich Congress had just come in early 1995, and it was the first time the Republicans had control of the House of Representatives in about 40 years. It was in the midst of the Oslo process. We felt Christians in particular should speak up and to guard Jerusalem from the Palestinian Authority. The PLO wanted to have a say there. We felt much more comfortable with the way Israel has kept Jerusalem as a house of prayer for all peoples. They've got a good track record on it. So I did a draft of a bill to move our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And Gary had 3 points: recognize Jerusalem as a capital; number 2, move the ambassador immediately; and number 3, then worry about a building. The bill got changed by the time it got through Congress. The presidential waiver added, delay after delay for 23 years now. But President Trump is doing in the order that we originally set out in our initial draft. So I feel vindicated. All that work and running around the halls of Congress was worth it.
So finally, after 2 decades, a long process,
yes.
But why did you feel it was necessary to move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem?
Well, it's symbolic, recognizing the 3,000, even 4,000-year-old Jewish claim and connection to Jerusalem. But there's also substance to it in that the Palestinians have denied any Jewish connection to Jerusalem or the Temple Mount. And we wanted to affirm that. The International Christian Embassy, where I now work for the last 20 years, is founded on the principle of Christian solidarity with the Jewish people in their ancient claim and connection to Jerusalem. And the wisdom of that bill was shown just a few months later. It passed finally in October of '95. In December of that year, Arafat took over Bethlehem for the first time, and when if you were visiting Manger Square that Christmas season, you were not told about the connection between the birth of Jesus in this site. You were handed official PA paper documents that said that the Western Wall in Jerusalem was an exclusively Muslim site. So, tampering with history and such, we need to stand for truth that God attached the Jews to Jerusalem, even to this day, for a redemptive purpose.
And after all these U.S. presidents reneged on moving the embassy, yes, Trump is finally doing it. Why? What do you think influenced the decision for him?
Well, other presidents have promised to do it, and once they get in the White House, they get all these briefings that the Arabs are going to be very upset. The whole region will explode. The whole region's already in tatters. And Trump had the courage of his convictions. He said, I made a promise here, and I'm going to keep it. And he's the first one who tested these threats of mayhem and violence. And there were some protests, but it did not turn out as bad as many thought. And I think it just shows maybe they were just trying to intimidate us all along. And I think even now the Palestinian Authority and Hamas are desperate to try and stir the Arab street against these embassies coming back. But there's just not enough momentum, and the whole region is in political chaos still. So it just seems the right time to do this.
Now, a recent story in the Washington Post reports that Christians are playing a big role in helping Jews around the world return to Israel. And your group, the ICEJ, is mentioned. Tell us, what do you do to help Jews make Aliyah?
We've been assisting Jews return to Israel from all around the world since we were founded in 1980. We already had people, even in the 70s, helping Jews who could come out through Vienna, through Hungary and Austria. That was the only way out before the fall of communism. But once Soviet communism fell, we've helped over 140,000 Jews make Aliyah to Israel. Wow. We helped around 3,000 last year. And if you look during our our almost 40 years of existence, nearly every year we have helped about 10% of the Jews coming back, moving to Israel that year. And there are other Christian ministries do this, but we do it because we believe it's the hand of God that hero nations, he who scattered Israel, will gather them. And there's an invitation in Isaiah. God says, I'll beckon to the Gentiles. They will carry you home on their shoulders and in their arms. We're invited to play a role in this positive side of Bible prophecy, the restoration of Israel.
So that's why it's so important to Christians to see the Jews come back to their homeland.
And it's exciting. I've been at the airport welcoming B'nai Menashe from Northeast India, Ethiopian Jews, Ukrainian Jews escaping the civil war there, Russian Jews, of course, even French Jews, flights that we sponsored, and it never gets old. There's such an excitement starting your land, starting over, your life over in the land that belonged to your ancestors many generations ago. It's a real faith step because Israel has 150, 200,000 rockets pointed at it. And I think everyone who moves there, whether they're secular or religious, God honors that step of faith. And he says, I'm going to plant them in the land with all my heart and all my soul.
Well, David Parsons from the International Christian Embassy in Jerusalem, we appreciate your work. Thank you for what you're doing. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Gary.